Every day we talk about grass to grace stories of footballers. Why don't we switch things up for a change and talk about some grace to grace stories for once? Today we'll be talking about footballers who grew up in rich households. Brace yourself for some real generational wealth stories, guys. Now, of course, sons of former footballers grew up rich, but those are easy and we don't like easy, so we'll leave them out. These are 10 players who were rich before football. We'll start with Gerard Piqué considering. He came up from La Masia and started playing football at a very young age. You might think that he had no alternative outside football, but best believe he actually did. You see, Piqué's dad is a successful businessman and lawyer, while his mom used to be a director at a hospital that specializes in spinal injuries. But that's not all. His grandfather, wait for it, used to be the vice president of FC Barcelona. His name is Amador Bernabeu. You can check him out. So you just know that Piqué was definitely very comfortable growing up. If football didn't work out for him, he would have surely been very okay. But I can assure you that Piqué is not the only former Barcelona player on this list. In fact, there are two. Can you guess who they are? Take a shot at it in the comments, and we'll see if you're right later in the video. But for now, let's look at Robin van Persie, who was born into a very artistic family. You see, the Netherlands is the land of great artists, from Rembrandt to Vermeer to Vincent van Gogh. So art has always been a way of life for the Dutch, and the Van Persies adopted that way and earned a good living through it. Our VP's dad was a sculptor, while his mom used to paint, design jewelry, and teach kids with special needs. So growing up, the former Arsenal striker didn't really lucky a thing. He started playing football at the age of 5 simply because it was his passion, not out of desperation or anything. Another striker who belongs on this list is Patrick Bamford. In fact, he might even be the admin of this group. This guy didn't just grow up in a comfortable household. He was wealthy. Bamford has some really powerful relatives, and that's how you know that he only plays football because he really enjoys the sport. The lead striker is related to the late Joseph Bamford, the founder of J.C. Bamford Excavator Limited. He's also related to Sir Anthony Bamford, a British billionaire and retired House of Lords member who's said to be worth about $10 billion. Sir Anthony is so wealthy that he's the only person to own 2 Ferrari 250 GTOs. This man is close to the King of England and a lot of former UK prime ministers. That's just how rich and influential Anthony Bamford is. The lead striker himself went to an independent fee-paying school and was offered a place at Harvard University, but he rejected the offer because he wanted to continue his footballing career in England. Just pause there. Do you know how rich you have to be to get offered a place at Harvard University and how much richer you have to be to reject it and still be sure you'd be fine in life? That is so crazy, man. This guy was raised wealthy, and you can just tell that he does wealthy people stuff. He's only played football in England, but he can speak English, French, Spanish, and German. He can also play the guitar, piano, saxophone, and the violin. Wealthy people stuff, I tell ya. In fact, Bamford even once admitted that his privileged background has led to him being treated differently in football because most players in this sport have a much more humble upbringing. But in this video, there's absolutely nothing like humble beginnings like Mario Götze, for example. Scoring the winning goal at the 2014 World Cup final definitely meant a lot to him, but economically, it probably didn't move him much because he'd seen it all before then. This guy is son to a respected university professor. In fact, because of what his dad does, Götze once spent a year and a half in the US. His father was doing some work collaborating with a university in Houston, Texas. So he went with him. Some reports even say that his father's resources gave Götze a hand with his footballing career. Now from one World Cup final goal scorer to another. Up next is Antoine Griezmann. Remember, we said there are 2 more former Barcelona players on this list. This is one of them, but we're sure you still can't guess who the other guy is. You see, Griezmann's dad was a town councillor, and he's now the president of UF Mâconnais, a football club in France. Of course, Griezmann was born in France. But his family was so rich that as a kid, he would often go to Portugal for holidays. And that's not even all for World Cup winners. Andrea Pirlo is another guy who has a grace-to-grace story. His dad is the founder of Elg Steel, a metal trading company in Italy. And guess what? The midfielder has a stake in the business. Pirlo is so rich that he has his own vineyard in Italy. The former Juventus man was once asked about the wealth from the family business and all that, and he replied by saying that he never talks about money, guys, isn't that? Just such a rich people thing too, and Piero's not the only Italian on this list, by the way. We also have the former Juventus and Chelsea striker Gianluca Vialli. The late footballer was the son of a self-made Italian millionaire, and he grew up in a 60-room castle. Can you imagine that? Sadly, Vialli passed away in 2023 at the age of 58 after a second battle with pancreatic cancer. Anyway, another footballer who grew up rich is Crystal Palace's Will Hughes, and it's evidenced in the secondary school. He attended Repton School. This is a school for the privileged with some prestigious alumni like Jeremy Clarkson and Roald Dahl. And of course, we couldn't complete this video without adding a goalkeeper. Hugo Lloris is one guy who was born with a silver spoon. His mom was a lawyer while his dad used to work as an investment banker in Monte Carlo, and they were rich enough to afford Hugo a more than comfortable lifestyle growing up. Now, the other former Barcelona guy that we've been talking about all day is Martin Braithwaite. Did you guess that right? Braithwaite's family has been in real estate for a long time, and they've earned a fortune from it. His uncle is Gareth Roger James Smith, an American-based real estate developer, and together they own hundreds of properties in the New York market and reportedly have a high-rise in New Jersey in the works. If the former Barcelona striker did not have football, he would surely still have been living a very luxurious lifestyle. Reports say he's even worth close to $300 million. Crazy. Even Braithwaite's wife is rich. And Lord Louis Braithwaite is a television personality, entrepreneur, and journalist, and has been doing well for herself even before Martin came along. Now, are there more players who were rich before football? Feel free to drop their names in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notifications so that you never miss out on new content. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.